What's up, Planeswalkers? Theorix6 back again playing some Magic the Gathering Arena Beta. Today, we're doing something a little bit differently. Also, we're doing it for the second time. As you can see, I have a win for today. And that's because I already did this recording, and for whatever reason, it got messed up. So let's jump back into it. So, on my latest video, a viewer named Aaron, shout out to Aaron, commented and asked if, well, I kind of offered, but whatever, if I could do a budget version. I realized that much of the deck is full of rares and a few mythics with the Lilianas, so I thought, hey, I think it's a pretty good idea to go ahead and run through the deck in a more budget-oriented version. So, without further ado, let's get into what we have. So still running 2 Time to Reflects. This is still prime removal. Still gets rid of gods. I run it in the normal version of the deck. Still good here. Low cost, which fits with the fact that because I am keeping the deck budget, the commons and uncommon cards are more low to the ground, which means this is a more aggro-oriented deck. Because of this, we are running 4 Dread Wonders. Now, what I ended up deciding is to keep the deck primarily commons and uncommons and allowing for 4 rares. So the 4 rares I decided to put in the deck is Dread Wanderer, because I saw that the deck that I was building before I decided what rare to use was looking more on the lean side and turning heavily aggro. So that's how I decided to go with Dread Wanderers. If you're wanting to build a budget version that's more mid-rangey, I would suggest using Plague Belchers instead of Dread Wanderers. And if you're looking for a slightly more late game oomph, I would say focus on getting the Liliana's Masteries. The benefit of that, of course, is that I suggest only running about 3. Running 4, totally fine. The cards like that insane. Moving on, of course, we still run 4 Festering Mummy. Great card, great tricks. However, in this current iteration, you can't do as many tricks because you don't have access to Plague Belcher. That said, still being able to potentially block an X1, kill that, and then kill another X1 for free, or give favorable trades otherwise is fantastic. For Binding Mummy, this card, just like in the main deck, still very good. It helps us race against other aggro decks. It helps us late game against the decks where we don't have very great attacks because their creatures are larger than ours, especially since in this version we are running fewer Anthem effects. For Khenra Eternal, you might recognize this guy from me testing him a little bit. In my testing, I didn't say he was bad. He was just more aggressive than I wanted the deck to be. Because of the fact that this is leaning towards an aggro angle, having 4 Khenra Eternal is fantastic. The fact that early on you're still swinging in for 2 or 3 damage with Lord, and then late game you're having that afflict drain, or not drain, but that afflict life loss, that makes it so that their blocks when they get to that low life is going to be very difficult for them. For Wretched Camel, now this is actually a card that I didn't necessarily realize was in print until I was on the Arena forums discussing the deck with, I think the user's name was Saccharid. I don't remember. Apologies that I'm butchering your name. But the deck that he's running currently does run Wretched Camels, and while I don't think Wretched Camel is necessarily where I want to be in the full version, the main version of the deck, I do think that as a budget include, this card is fantastic for several reasons. One, we run several deserts. In this deck, we're actually running 1 more desert than in the main version. So this card will almost always be on. 2, the fact that it has 1 toughness isn't actually that big of a deal. This format seems to revolve around 2 toughness, not so much 1, although there are several tokens running around. And 3, the fact that you're able to just continually swing in against control and have them not be able to efficiently block because of the fact that they might lose a card is a very serious threat when you're running up against control decks. If you end up going a more mid-range route, this card is fantastic to keep in because, as I said, you should try using Plague Belcher in the mid-range slot instead of Dread Wanderer. and this will allow you to have more tricks with Plague Belcher. If your opponent is holding up, for example, 2 white and 2 of any other color, they're often going to be at least bluffing Settle the Wreckage, and being able to play Plague Belcher, kill this, and get potentially that blowout card out of their hand is going to make your life a lot easier when you're trying to swing in for the final attack. So I think Wretched Camel is actually a fantastic card. Additionally, against aggro, you can just sit them on defense, block an X2 or an X3 with Lord, and potentially remove some of their more late game gas, like Hazoret, like the Phoenix, like the Dragon. Ugh. I'm still traumatized from the 3 losses in a row by that red deck. But yeah, Wretched Camel is a fantastic include that just barely doesn't make the cut in the main deck. For Wayward Servants, just like in the main version, this card is your bread and butter. It can help get you reach in the late game if you're just trying to get those 1 or 2 points of damage left on your opponent. Lord of the Accursed, once again, fantastic. The fact that Lord of the Accursed and Wayward Servant are uncommons makes this budget deck possible. Without these being uncommons, I probably wouldn't even try to make the budget deck work. You get Menace, you get an Anthem, good stuff. For Unraveling Mummies. Now, this is essentially our curve topper, so to say. Lord of the Accursed is also the highest we go. And it adds just a lot of value, right? If you're going up against the aggro matchup, you're probably going to be racing at some point. And the fact that you're able to get that incremental life gain means that you'll be that much better at racing. Especially since a lot of the other tribes have inherent life gain. For example, the white-black vampire deck, many of their tokens do have life gain. So this helps in that regard. And against the control decks, the Death Touch is a fantastic ability because you'll be able to destroy many things and trade up. You're gaining value. And the fact that this is a mana sink is fantastic because we might be in situations in which you're on 5-6 mana and you just have a couple creatures on board, and this really helps with that combat math, making your opponent not necessarily want to block because of the fact that you can just kill their guys for essentially free. And if they don't block, well, you weren't going to use your mana, gain some life, why not? It'll help you in that situation remain stable until you're able to potentially get something like a Wayward Servant, something like a Wretched Camel to push those last bits of advantage through. Excuse me, I had to take a sip. And then we're running 3 cast outs. This is actually 1 more than what we're running in the main version. And the reason for this is, in the main version, because we have so many high-value cards, we don't necessarily care as much about removing what our opponent's doing. We are, so to say, asking all the questions and forcing our opponent to answer them. Whereas in this deck, we are asking questions, but these questions are much more small. They're much more easily answered. And as such, we want to make sure that if something comes up, we can answer it. This will be able to allow us to get through something like Lyra, or Lyra, which is just kind of a stone wall in the deck without cast outs and time reflex. Helps us once again get rid of gods, get rid of the other top end things. And besides that, I can't praise the cycling enough, right? The fact that this cycles for a single mana really helps this aggro deck along. If they don't have anything that we necessarily need to answer, we can easily just cycle it through and potentially play another card that same turn. As I said, we are playing slightly more deserts, and by that I mean 1 more. We're playing 2 Shefet Dunes. The main deck only plays 1, and the reason for this is because since we are running the rares, we have fewer anthems, and Shefet Dunes will just allow us to get that extra boost that we might need with a bit more consistency. Still, 1 Desert of the True, 1 Desert of the Glorified. They're deserts in play if we need them to be. Otherwise, late game, we can just cycle them through to hopefully get more gas. The fact that Wretched Camel cares about things being in the graveyard as well means that we don't have to worry about cycling these. 2 Ifnir Deadlands still, fantastic pseudo removal. 2 Dunes of the Dead, a great way to just maintain desert, and getting a zombie. So I named the deck Gluten-Free Brains because I thought it was funny. In the video we recorded earlier, I did win a game. That was the only game I've played with this deck. I've not practiced or anything. The fact that I only had 1 out of whatever attested that fact. I'm hoping I win this one too. That would give a bit more credence to the idea that this is an actual legitimate deck. I think the value of zombies is there even at working on a budget. As I said, you can take this deck into other directions starting off if you wanted to use different rares. I will say, if you have various rares that you want to play in the deck that are in my finalize my main deck, my suggestion is to keep the deck as consistent as possible. So let's say you have a Plague Belcher, a Liliana's Mastery, and a single Liliana. Instead of lowering 3 different cards by 1, my suggestion is to lower 1 card by 3, because that will maintain as much consistency in your other cards as possible. We're going into that random guy, 42, with a pretty bad hand. We are going second, but the fact that we have 3 white cards and no white sources means that we pretty much cannot keep this hand. Essentially the opposite problem. We're going second. We do have a cast out. I'm much more tempted to keep this hand than the previous one. Like, just because of the fact that we have cast out. I have been saying that I need to mulligan more aggressively, and in this aggressive deck, we don't want to run out of gas, but we also don't want to just lose and run out of steam. So I'll mulligan again. Oh, this is so bad. I literally have to mulligan. Alright, this is an actually keepable hand, fun fact. I'm gonna put that in the bottom. I don't see myself ever playing it. We'll see how this goes. Getting another Khenra Eternal is great. The fact that our curve is so low means that we shouldn't really struggle too much on mana, because we have 1 of each color, and we just want to go get nothing but gas. I am hoping that whatever problem was played. Oh, this is actually fantastic. I'm just going to go ahead and play Camel here. This is very obviously a control deck, and Camel shines against them. It also will level the playing field a bit. I'm down to 2 cards; they still have 6. Sure. Yeah, I'm hoping whatever plagued me in my last recording does not show up again, because I didn't change anything. I have no idea what happened. So I'm hoping my computer was just doing something in the background and I don't have to worry about it. They will likely counter this, but that's fine. I'm still chipping away. But yeah, so I think if you want to include rares that you already have, you should definitely maintain consistency as a priority. They could drop a black source and play Golden Demise, which is probably what they're doing. Yeah. They will discard a card though. So let's see what they want to discard. So yeah, this makes it so that that Golden Demise was much less bad for us. As soon as we get the 3rd source, we do have a 3-drop, which is nice. So we have just been drawing gas. So we're not necessarily out of it. As you can see, this... Oh gosh, is this a Scarab God? No, okay, that's fine. As you can see, like, even the fact that I mulliganed so far down, I'm still, like, in the game. The situation would be much better if I didn't have to mulligan down all the way to 4. And, you know, there's an argument to be made that I should have kept the first hand, but I don't think it would have been worth. Honestly, I think I should have kept the second hand. You want to Essence Scatter my Festering Mummy? That's totally fine. They have 3 cards in the graveyard. I'll just go and pull this up because this card's like relatively complicated. Sure. once again, I'll attack and I'll play a creature. I'll need to either keep drawing 2 mana creatures, or I will need to, looks like a last gasp or last feed, whatever the card's called. Moment of Craving. I don't know the name of all these cards. Sure, that's fine. I'll either need to keep drawing 2 drops, or I will need to draw another mana source so I can play another card. They probably, if they counter this, like, they have 2 cards in hand now. Like, they have the same number as me. And they're still a bit away from Escanta, because it has to be, what, 7? Yeah. So, I'm not terribly worried right now. If I win this game on a mold of 4, that just shows the power of this budget deck, right? I'm beating an actual, like, I assume this is a full deck. We haven't seen everything from it. But yeah, I mean, go ahead and play Dreadwonder out. I would like another untapped mana source. That'd be great, so I can start playing the other 2 cards in my hand. But he's still a bit away from Search for Escanta. I'll take 2. I assume they have something good here. I don't see why they would have attacked. Because, I mean, they absolutely don't need to race me. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, I can play this back soonish, as long as I can draw a land. Cool, that's actually fantastic. I'm going to play Unraveling Mummy first. The reason is, 1, I care less if it's countered, and 2, it's... I'm more comfortable attacking with it next turn, so... But yeah, so we drew a land, essentially right on time. I don't think I went a turn without casting a spell, so... this deck, mulligan's fine-ish. The mana base, not great. If you have Isolated Chapels, play them. I don't think you should play the white-black tap land. This is an aggressive deck, and I legitimately don't think that you should play that. Sure, Ifnir Deadlands, that's fine. To be fair, I did forget about that. No blocks. Although they are down, so... go and play Lord of the Accursed here. And next turn I'll be able to play Dreadwonder from my graveyard. And I'm gonna... they got rid of their Deadlands. I'll attack for 1, like, I'm not blocking. The thing is, I can even start gaining life. Look at the top 4 cards, reveal a non-creature, non-land, put it in your hand for the rest of the bottom. Yeah, I mean, they're still far away from that, only 3 cards in hand. A lot of freaking Chupacabras, though. I'm dying to the Chupacabra onslaught. But, still, I can play Dreadwater next turn, and theoretically I can start getting in for life gain. I have my own Ifnir Deadlands, and I think, honestly, that I want to use it here. I don't have the black source. Never mind. I'm gonna go ahead and cast this. If I draw another black source, I will Ifnir Deadlands. No attacks. I might need to start blocking soon, but I don't know. I don't actually think that I even need necessarily to 2, 4, 6. I'll be down to 2. I'm fine with that. I don't even think necessarily that I need to record another video to show, because really, like, this is mostly a deck tech. But I did want to showcase how the deck plays relative to the main deck, and I think even this game does a good job, because this is fantastic actually. So I even have a couple blockers, unless they're going to counter it, which would be unfortunate. No, don't you dare! Oh. So we're dead. But, you know, I'll throw him a good game. It wasn't necessarily a good game, because I did have to mulligan before. But I did well. The deck did well, I should say. Even mulling all the way down to 4. So I really think that showcases the fact that this is still a legitimate deck, even if you don't have the rares or the mythics to put into it, right? Zombies does have the power to get there, even if you're only playing mostly commons and uncommons. Once again, I want to thank Aaron for throwing me that comment. I want to thank everyone who watches. I'm playing this game anyway, I figure, why not record it? Why not share my fun with people? Whenever I see a like and a comment on the video, it really does. It really makes me smile. I really enjoy sharing this content with you guys. If anyone else would like to see any other type of content, be it seeing me try a specific card that can't be rare because I have like 7 rares that I need to craft first, but whatever. Or you want to see me play a different type of budget deck. If you want to see me talk about like my favorite mythics in Magic Arena, if you want to see me talk about the economy and my suggestions for it or whatever like that, leave a comment. I essentially respond immediately because I have notifications on my iPod, and I check, they come up and I look at them and I respond, and I really enjoy it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, all will be one.